Hey everybody, Felix Stoffelbaker here. I got a print that I had to print off because the originals are going for thousands of dollars if you can even find them. There was a 1981 Boston Federal Reserve magazine that was, or little comic book that was put out called Wishes and Rainbows. And there's also a teacher's guide called The Road to Ruta. And this was a way of introducing the children of the day about a new system. This came out originally in 1981 and was revised in 2007. And what's interesting was that the guy that made this is a pretty prominent guy at the Federal Reserve. And this was right when Alan Greenspan got put into the Fed chairman role. So I just thought that this was very interesting, and you can see here. Alright, I just want to take a little read of this. Deep beneath the ground between Boulder's Ridge and Gopher Junction lies the little town of Pebbleton. The town looks like any others except for one thing. Because of the lack of color, all the houses look alike and every street seems like any other street. The little Pebble people look the same, each about 6 inches tall, and instead of pretty pink blouses, blue pants, or yellow scarves, they only wear whites, blacks, and grays. Look at that pretty shades of gray. Dark gray, light gray. The Pebble people are not happy in their world of no color. For centuries they have had stories of a legendary color land, and they long to look upon blues, reds, and yellows that they have heard so much about. And then Jack saw the goose flap its wings and lay a magnificent golden egg. What does golden mean, Grandma? Oh, Ruta, golden is one of the beautiful colors of Colorland, along with blue, red, purple, and oh, so many others. All my life I've dreamed of seeing the things that the stories describe, a tree's autumn colors, or a flower's softly tinted petals. But if Colorland is so beautiful, Grandma, why doesn't anyone go there? Because the people who live in Colorland are very big and might accidentally step on any Pebble person who visits. All of our people are afraid to go there. Besides, nobody knows how to reach Colorland. Some say you can get there through the caves near Cobblestone Canyon, which Cobblestone Canyon is a real place in the Grand Canyon. I'm not afraid, Grandma. I often play in those caves, and someday I will find the way to Colorland and bring back some of those colors. One day, a few weeks later, Ruta and her friend Rocky were playing hide and seek in the caves. 1001, 1002, 1000. As she runs through one tunnel, Ruta sees a large boulder on a ledge above her. If I could push that boulder aside and hide it, Rocky would never find me. Suddenly, the boulder rolls aside, rumble, rumble, and a dazzling ray of golden sunlight shines on Ruta. At first, Ruta has to cover her eyes to protect them from the light, but at last she grows accustomed to it, and she climbs through the hole and looks out. Ooh. Ruta leaps to her feet and runs. Oh, I found them! I found the colors Grandma told me about. Oh, they're magnificent. They're even more magnificent than I ever imagined. This is the most beautiful of them all. If only Grandma and the other Pebble people could see it. Then Ruta had an idea. Carrying the flower, Ruta returns to the hole and turns for one last look. Goodbye, beautiful colors. I'll see you again someday. Ruta makes her way back through the tunnels and finds Rocky. She tells him of her adventure. So this is what color looks like? It's prettier than I ever imagined. I could hardly wait to show Grandma. Quickly, they take the flower back to Pebbleton and show it to Ruta's grandmother. Oh, Ruta, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You've made me very, very happy. But what should I do with it, Grandma? The people of Pebbleton have been without color for so long. Why don't you and Rocky plant it in the town square? The children followed Grandma's suggestion. Now all the people will know how pretty the color is. It makes the whole town seem brighter and happier. The most beautiful thing I ever saw. Perhaps Ruta would go back for more. How I would love to have a flower of my own. How did we survive without those pretty colors? Is that petal blue or purple? I don't know, but I think the stem is green. Wouldn't it be wonderful if every citizen of Pebbleton could have a flower? And Ruta and Rocky were summoned before the mayor. And so, as mayor, I instruct you to go back to Colorland and bring back more flowers. Happily, Ruta and Rocky returned to the caves, but a rock slide has closed off that whole tunnel. What do we do now? Don't be sad. We still have one colored flower, but everybody in Pebbleton wants one. They will never be happy unless we find more. We must search for another opening to Colorland. After a long search, look, Rocky, there's a golden light ahead. Hooray! Another entrance to Colorland! But their joy fades. Look, Ruta, the golden light is coming from that little hole in the ceiling. It's so high, even the tallest ladder in Pebbleton could never come close to reaching it. We have to search through all the caves, and there is no other entrance to Colorland. Cheer up! The people of Pebbleton will have to learn to share the colors with our only flower. But so many people and only one flower. They returned to Pebbleton. Oh, look, Ruta, the bright and pretty flower has become wilted and gray. And then the flower sheds 3 hard black tears. The flower's color cannot live without the golden light in the world above. It is said that its tears will grow new flowers if they receive the light. This gives Ruta an idea. Come on, Rocky, let's go back to the cave. Once there, she places 3 tears under the earth where the golden light shines down. The children take turns watering the spot every day. After a few days, 3 green shoots poke through the ground. Bursting with happiness, the children race back to Pebbleton with the good news. But, as mayor, I certainly should receive one. I want one of the flowers. I was here first, so I should get one. I'm the richest person in town, so I should be allowed to buy one. If I don't get one, I'll hold my breath till I'm sick. I'm the poorest, so I should be given one. Ruta, you found the colors, so it's up to you. Is it for you to decide who gets one? The people of Pebbleton have been without color all their lives. Now they have seen its beauty and want more and more. If you can decide who will get a flower and who won't. But who am I to do, Grandma? I have the only 3 flowers, yet everybody wants one. So Ruta returns to the sunlit cave. She sits beside the flowers, thinking. She writes numbers in the dust at her feet, then erases them. She draws pictures too, and erases those too. At last, she returns to Pebbleton and summons everyone to the town square. I have listed everyone from the oldest Pebbleton to the youngest Pebble baby. Ruta calls the first 3 names and hands each a flower. When those 3 flowers lose their colors, we will use their tears to plant more. In time, everyone will be given a flower. Years passed, and Rockslide has opened another hole in the ceiling and created another sunlit cave. Now the Pebble people can grow twice as many flowers as before, and the streets of Pebbleton are lined with beautiful colored flowers. But the townspeople are still not content. Many want 2, 3, even 4 flowers for their own. Since Ruta cannot grow that many and only 2 sunlit caves, she had Rocky still search for another opening in Colorland. So don't be surprised if some summer day when you're lying on the green grass and looking at the blue sky, you hear voices coming from underground. It could be Rocky and Ruta looking for the entrance to Colorland. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, updated in 2007. And here is the guide, The Road to Ruta. And Root A was the first computer programming language in BASIC that Alan Greenspan wrote. And basically, I will leave this here for you, but it goes through all of this, how it's a lesson in scarcity, and it basically goes through an entire economics lesson based off of this little comic book that the Federal Reserve of Boston wrote. And some people think that this is where it can come into the idea that Alan Greenspan, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is actually Satoshi Nakamoto, who released the Bitcoin white paper and basically created, with the help of everybody, from the cypherpunks all the way up, to be able to release a digital scarce asset into the world that the world would then accept because there was no foundational leader that could be gone after. It's one of the only things that makes sense when you realize how almost every other cryptocurrency that isn't being ran by the government gets basically tracked down and taken over. But we know that EOS has a waiver, and obviously Bitcoin has a waiver to be clear investment, and you see everybody investing in them. So this is something to think about. I made a video in 2019 or so, the 10th anniversary of Bitcoin. I made a Who is Satoshi rap and recorded it with a guy that I knew and put it under his account, and so I can link that below. But basically, it's a good chance that Alan Greenspan, if there is one person to actually attribute to the Satoshi Nakamoto moniker, I would guess, my guess is as good as anybody's, that it would be Alan. There's so much going on. There has been a bunch of presidents that have been trying to, basically every president since it happened, have been trying to get the digging rights and mining rights to the Grand Canyon, because there's tons and tons of gold in the Grand Canyon. There's pyramids in the Grand Canyon. There's all kinds of caves, and now there's documentation of guys going in there and finding just like Egyptian level like tombs with tons of jewelry and really expensive stuff, but it's all blocked off to the public. You can't go down in there. And it's just too much of a coincidence for everything to be happening for it not to be somebody prominent like that. He was the first guy who, like I said, Root A is the basic programming language that Alan Greenspan wrote initially for, it was like the first financing code. And so it just makes a lot of sense. That's my opinion. I just want to put that out there. Staffeldaker out.